Opa! Oh la la!
I took a night bus from Bulgaria to Romania, then took a taxi to Bucharest center, only to find out I've arrived early and it's freezing. The shops were closed, but one place finally opened at 8 a.m. and I had a well-earned breakfast followed by a much-needed liquid hug. Gracias.
Hola!
Hola.
¿Qué tal?
I dropped my bag and rushed to catch the morning tour starting from Bucharest fountains. We started with the historical buildings. Our tour included a brief history of the country, a talk about the strong influence of politics in Bucharest, and the life of Ceausescu, from our lovely tour guide who also scared us a little when she explained the history behind Vlad the Impaler. After that, I moved on to explore the buildings of the city. Hello everyone! There is a lot to cover in this video about Romania, but there will be a part 2 filmed in Brașov and Sighișoara, and for now, this video is about Bucharest. Why I'm interested in buildings. So when I travel, like every other traveler, I enjoy nature and I love experiencing the smells at a local market and the flavors of traditional food in a city. But I also make it a point to talk to its people and learn about its buildings because for me, that's the best way to really understand the culture and soul of a city. In the 1980s, Ceausescu decided to build his grand project, the House of the People, in Bucharest's historic city center. His building is the heaviest and most expensive building in the world and the second largest administrative building after the Pentagon. To achieve this, however, thousands of buildings on site had to be demolished. But this man managed to rescue about 30 buildings, including a dozen churches, from demolition. He was inspired by a waiter carrying glasses on a tray. Ceausescu's idea was to dig out the ground underneath the churches, split the buildings from their foundations, creating a large concrete tray underneath, use hydraulic jacks to lift the buildings up, then roll them along rails to relocate them onto new foundations built on new sites. And I'm in awe each time I look at these churches, knowing that they weren't actually built here, but rolled in from other locations. Another interesting feature of Bucharest is eclectic architecture. Started in the late 19th century, eclectic architecture is a combination of 2 or more styles to produce something new. It usually mixes historical styles with modern ones to create something original, and the rule is, there are no rules. If it looks nice, it works. So if you come across structures that include elements from different times and cultures, that's eclectic architecture. Many of the eclectic buildings in Bucharest were designed by architects brought from France, and that's why the city was called Little Paris. And you can feel a French vibe walking around some neighborhoods. But for me, the place which reminded me of Paris the most was this passageway. Passages are a normal part of many cities, but in Bucharest, they've become tourist destinations, and each passage has its own character. Maca Villa-Cross Passage started out as an inn which was gifted by the owner to his 2 daughters. Its name is a combination of their husbands' last names, Villa-Cross after Bucharest's chief architect, and Maca, the builder of the luxury shops inside. Today it's lined with different cafes, bars and restaurants, and it's beautiful to walk through both in the daytime and at night. The English passage looked a bit sad and quiet compared to the other passages, but when I walked through, I reached a wonderful shop at the end with a lovely surprise. This hat shop is owned by a man who is now known as the oldest hat maker in Romania. And after showing me his collection and the different tools he uses to make hats, he told me how old he really was. 91?
Da, da.
Really? He then gave me my very own hat to try on. Thank you. Bye. I came to Victoria Passage very early the next morning just to get these videos because it's normally packed with tourists during the day, and you can see why it stands out. The passage is covered with rainbow umbrellas all the way through, and it's become a destination for social media photography during the day and a place to socialize at night. My next destination is a must-see in Bucharest. This bookstore was designed by a Romanian architecture firm called Square One. The English translation of Carteresti Carousel is Carousel of Light, and its design reflects its name perfectly. It's got curvy balconies, spiral stairs, and a general feeling of fluidity and motion all around. Its decoration is white painted, it's very open, and it's full of natural light. The more I travel, the more I realize that the most interesting people you can ever meet are travelers. So I present to you my partner in crime around Bucharest, Sumia. She's a very funny and sassy world traveler who used to work in the States, but now she goes around the planet saying random things like,
"Oh, I want to drink bubble tea now."
We stopped to check some graffiti, some interesting buildings, and finally found a local restaurant that was serving a dish we both wanted to try. Sarmale is a Romanian stuffed cabbage dish that's normally served with a side of polenta. After another walk, we met up with Fabio to try a famous Romanian dessert at Caru cu Bere, which is definitely a tourist destination, but also popular among the locals. Before dessert, Fabio insisted that we try a Romanian soup, șorba, which is a delicious meat and vegetable soup that comes in its very own bread bowl.
Opa! Oh la la!
And here it is, the Toppenish, the Romanian donut topped with sour cream and jam. It's very rich, it's very creamy, and it's very delicious, and if there is one thing you must try in Romania, this is definitely it. Sumia and I ended our day with a walk near the parliament to watch an extraordinary show made with water, music and lights, the Dancing Fountains of Bucharest. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and leave me a comment below, and I'll see you in the next one.